A CEC specific express entry draw, Nova Scotia's scary email to all the NSNP applicants, and in general the future of Canadian immigration. We're going to talk about all of this in this video. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Dhruv. I am a regulated Canadian immigration consultant, and at our firm Effizient Inc, we assist all prospective immigrants with their immigration to Canada. So if you have any questions, you need assistance, or you are an aspirant, here is our contact information. You can call us, email us, you can WhatsApp us, and we would be happy to help you. If you want to stay updated about Canadian immigration, this is the channel. You should pause this video right here and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you are notified about any new video that we upload. Now, we've had a CEC draw last week. After a very long time and much anticipation, we finally had a draw under express entry that was specific to the CEC program. This was long awaited, and finally we had a CEC specific draw. Along with the CEC specific draw came another news from Nova Scotia PNP notifying its PNP applicants that they may not be able to process the applications that were submitted this year by the end of this year or by next year. And this was a big shock to a lot of folks who had applied and who were hoping to get nomination in order to extend their work permits. Before we jump into these topics and we talk about the Canadian immigration's outlook for the future and my perspective on what it would look like, let's answer the comment of the week on our YouTube channel. The comment comes from Shwan, and the question is, what is the acceptance rate for a super visa? This is a very good question and is a very common question that a lot of people have, especially permanent residents and Canadian citizens who have the option of applying for super visa for their parents or a normal visitor visa. And the answer is the acceptance rate for a super visa is pretty good. As long as you meet all the income requirements as the sponsor, so as the child, you should meet the income requirements. As long as you meet that, the acceptance rate for super visa is pretty good. I have seen very few super visas gotten rejected, and any that has gotten rejected is because of the income requirements. Almost no super visa I've seen gotten refused if the sponsor is meeting the income requirement. Of course, you need to meet the other eligibility requirements such as inadmissibility, medical admissibility, etc., etc. However, assuming you qualify and you don't have any criminal history, you don't have medical problems, the super visa is usually a good option, and the acceptance rate is very high, especially when compared to a normal visitor visa. I hope this answers the question. If you are considering between super visa and visitor visa and you've had poor performance or poor success rate with normal visitor visas, super visa can be a very good option for you as long as you meet the income requirements. Now, coming back to the topic of this video, firstly, let's talk about the CEC draw that we had last week. This was long awaited, and we finally had a CEC draw with 3,000 invitations. So this was a substantial draw, CEC category specific draw, as in all the members of the CEC class were invited. There was no specific knock codes or categories that were chosen for this draw. So it's good news for all the folks who are CEC eligible applicants. And the cutoff score was 522. Now, after this draw, the same question every express entry applicant has is whether the CEC draws will continue, and what do I think, or what do we think the cutoffs are going to go to? Well, as long as anyone can tell, we don't know if this is going to continue and how often and how big these draws will be. If the draws are big, then CEC specific cutoffs will definitely drop, and it may drop to 500s or high 400s, 490 or above. However, it really depends on the frequency and the size of the draw for CEC specific candidates. If the government continues, and I hope government continues to do CEC specific draws, in that case, all those folks who are sitting at low 500s, very high 400s, above 490 and between 490 and 510 may see some relief, because currently with no category specific draws, they were not seeing the cutoffs coming down to the scores that they're sitting at. Now, while we had the CEC draw, which increased the hopes for immigrant aspirants, We had another big news with Nova Scotia PNP sending emails out to the applicants who had applied for Nova Scotia PNP saying that they may not get a decision for their applications by the end of this year. And the reason they state is that they've already have enough applications and their quotas are limited by the federal government. So they cannot nominate every person who has applied this year, and this may mean they'll have to put back the applications that are low priority, that are not in the priority sectors of healthcare and construction. And those folks may have to wait until next year for a decision. Now, Nova Scotia being the province that was sort of open, although they had restricted the food and accommodation sector, with this announcement, I think they are prepping the audience, they are prepping the applicants who are in Nova Scotia that they may be closing down as well. Unfortunately, I think this is going to happen at some point, and this leaves only Atlantic Immigration Program as an alternate pathway, as a pathway that stays open right now. No one knows how that's going to change in the future, but given the demand of the slots and given the limited number of PR slots that the government releases, we may see changes in that as well. Now, with all of that said and done, where are we heading in terms of Canadian immigration? I'm going to give my opinion in this video, so watch till the end. This has been a pattern, age-old pattern, where a country becomes very much a destination for immigrants. They really want to go there. This has happened in the past with the United States, this has happened with the UK, this has happened with Australia, this has happened with New Zealand, and now this is happening in Canada. In the beginning of the immigration cycle, the borders of countries are usually relatively open. They are very much open to have open policies, easier pathways for people to settle down, people to stay there permanently. And as more and more people become interested, more and more people come to these countries, then they have to make more restrictive policies. This happened, if you go back in history, this has happened in the United States, where in the past it used to be relatively easier for foreign people to come to the US, settle there, for them to be able to get their permanent residency, get their green cards, and then become American. But if you look at the United States today, it's almost impossible or very, very hard as an economic immigrant to settle down permanently without significant employer support. Even if you have studied in the US, you will get a limited visa, and following that, you will most likely not be able to get your permanent residency within the period after your studies, and you'll have to go on some employer supported work permit while you process your permanent residency, if ever you get permanent residency in the United States. So in the US, most of the people end up staying on visas such as H-1Bs or other employer supported visas, L1s and N1Bs, L1As, etc., etc. They are working there, they are on a closed work permit like we have in Canada. They have a closed work permit as well. They would continue working for their employers, and as long as they need to stay there, they have to have an employer who is willing to sponsor them, and then only they can stay there. Now, over the past few years, Canada has been the place where most of the people have chosen to immigrate. One, because of good economic conditions, and secondly, because of open immigration policies, which made Canada more preferable as compared to UK, US, Australia, New Zealand, etc. However, with a very high influx of people coming into Canada, now the government has to restrict because there are limited resources, and in my opinion, we are heading towards this phase where getting permanent residency is going to be very hard unless you have an employer who is willing to support you, who is willing to have you here as long as it takes for you to become a permanent resident, and for as long as you need to stay here. Again, it's not going to be as hard as, say, the United States, but we've seen that if you are coming here after your high school, doing your studies here, it's very hard right now with all these programs making changes for you to be able to permanently reside here. I think in the next 2 or 3 years, if you are a person who is an aspirant and you're coming here as a student, you need to invest in your skills to be able to find employers who are not only willing to retain you and give you a job, but they are willing to help you through the work permit process, through LMIAs, so that you can stay with them, continue working with them while you process your permanent residence. It could take beyond the 3-year PGWP period, and hence you may need a few extra years. As we are seeing now, folks are running out of their PGWP without any options, and only their employers can help them. If you are one of the individuals who are completing your studies now, or you have a couple of years or maybe a year left in your postgraduate work permit, you need to think about this. You need to upgrade your skills. Again, all the business programs that we take, 2-year business programs, they are not going to be enough for you to be able to obtain PR going forth, given the current circumstances. Of course, if things change for the better, that's great, but you have to prepare for the worst. So you need to gain some skills so that you can find employers who are willing to invest and spend what is required to keep you working with them, to have you there, and to make sure that you're with them, you have the authorization to work with them until you receive your permanent residence. So that's it for this video, guys. We've talked about the CEC Draw, so that's good news. I hope this continues. Nova Scotia gave sort of a heartbreaking news, with them also indicating some restrictions in their PNP program coming along. And then we've talked about what the future outlook may look like and what you can do to prepare better. I hope you were able to get something useful from this video. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with your friends so that they can also gain some valuable insights. Thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.